Welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast with Joshua Latimer, where we discuss business, life, family, faith, struggle, fire, pain, and ultimately winning.
It's time to take massive action. Look, I can't work harder on your life or business than you do. It's ultimately all on you.
You know, God created all the food the birds would ever need, but he doesn't put it in their nest. You've got to go get it.
10 out of 10 people die. So how about doing something today that actually matters while you still can? Hey everybody, Josh here. Welcome to the Quick Talk Podcast. Super excited you're joining me again. We're back, and I have a new guest on the line with me today. Some of you probably know who he is because he's internet famous. His name's Stan Genadek. He has a huge YouTube channel that I didn't discover until, a few months ago. But he has over 90,000 subscribers. He comes from the landscaping and lawn care industry. Super interesting guy. You've got to go on Google and Google Dirt Monkey. Okay, that's kind of the name of his brand and whatnot. But he also runs a large landscaping and lawn care business, and we're going to get some business insights from Stan today. Stanley Genadek, how are you? Thank you for being here. How you doing?
Good, Josh. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being on the air with your audience. This is going to be awesome. I'm excited to be able to share some information. I hope that helps your guys and gals out.
Oh, I know that it will, and I'm glad that I squeaked a good half hour out of you, maybe 40 minutes out of you if I get lucky, because you stay pretty busy. You have a large service company. You're doing massive stuff on social media, which I don't know a ton about YouTube. I'm not going to pretend I do, but I know how much work it is to edit just a single video, and you're putting out huge amounts of content. Give us some backstory on how this all came to be and what things look like today.
Oh, yeah. Great. Well, it all started back when I was a kid, 13 years old, running heavy equipment out down on the farm. I took that skill and I brought it forward, paid my way through college. So I wasn't going to be borrowing anything. I was going through college, and one of my professors, I said, hey, you know what? Sometimes I got to step out because I'm running my business to pay college. And as I was stepping out to take a phone call, professor said, now there goes a real businessman. And I stopped and I said, what am I doing? I really need to concentrate more on business. And then that's when I started to really put all of my energy and effort into running the business and growing the business back when I was 19, 20 years old.
Don't you think, and this is a total side tangent, but it popped into my head, modern education, right? Like the collegiate system, the university level education, isn't it becoming more and more obsolete? I mean, look how many people you're training to make, six-figure incomes just through YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta have an opinion on that, right?
Oh my gosh. I just answered an email this morning. There was a 19-year-old kid. He said, Stan, I need some help. I'm trying to go through college. I don't know what I should be doing. Give me some help. And I said, do both. Don't give up on your college education. It's going to open doors, give you the opportunity to go further than you ever did. But I said, run your business while you're in college. It's going to test you beyond anything else. But the problem is while you're going to college, it's not going to actually give you the knowledge needed to run a business, because these college professors, no offense against them, if they really knew what they were doing in business, they wouldn't be college professors. They would be, corporate kings, right?
There's something off, especially with entrepreneurism in college, because, if you want to be an RN, you have to get the technical training to be an RN or a lawyer to pass the bar or whatever. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, shouldn't you just begin? If you go to college or not, shouldn't you just start?
Well, yes and no. Now, I firmly believe that college kind of helps you figure out how to learn. And I know that sounds a little obscure, Josh, but in reality, the ability to figure out how to do calculus and chemistry and all this other crap that really isn't going to help you in business helps you become a creative thinker. And creative thinking is an absolute must when you're running a business, because it's the buck stops with you, right? There's no one else is held accountable. And so the ability to figure out how to get through those classes also is the ability to help you figure out how to do bidding and estimating, how to do sales, how to create systems to run your specific business.
For me, I think the biggest benefit of college or any kind of structured education, especially when you're young, especially if you're young and you have entrepreneurial tendencies, is just the structure and the discipline of it. Because like the hardest thing ever is just to finish something for a lot of entrepreneurs, or to follow through, or to get up at a certain time and study and do your thing. I think that is what the most valuable thing brought to the table is too, is just the discipline that it preps you for, because to achieve a high level of success in business, you got to have that part as well, right?
Absolutely. And so, yes, I went to college. I worked my way through it as best I could. And then I just focused on business after that. I realized that my priority was running a business, and I wasn't going to gain. At some point, I realized that the cost of college wasn't enough to overcome the cost of the lost time running my own company. And so I dove deep into running the business. And then I grew that to about $2 million a year in 2000, roughly 7, I think it was. We had 5 crews running, 20 plus guys going. We were consistently bringing in around $2 million a year, but I wasn't living the dream by any means at that point. And I sat down with my chiefs, right, Josh, with my head honchos. And in 2007, I said, next year, I'm going to intentionally cut my business in half. Now, this was before I knew that there was going to be a big economic downturn. Okay. I had no clue 2008 the economy was going to tank. Nobody did, or there would have been a lot more people, batching down the latches, so to speak. So I had originally intentionally decided to cut the business in half, and I did it in 2008, just as the tide was turning down. And what I found is my gross sales went from 2 million, and I was aiming for about 1 million the following year. It went down to about 750,000, but my profits stayed exactly the same.
That's interesting. I was talking to Phil on the last podcast as well, and you guys do some work together with Dirt Monkey University, but you do have totally separate companies and different stories and all that, just to be clear. And he had kind of a similar story, except he didn't do it on purpose. Like the economy kind of smacked him across the face and his company shrunk. But we were talking about the importance of profit. And I've had Mike Michalowicz on the show, Profit First, and he was talking about vanity metrics and how everybody talks about revenue. And you know what? We talk about it a lot on the show, but it really doesn't indicate the health of the company or the sanity of the owner just by knowing what your revenue is. It's what you bring home at the end of the day, right? And that's what you're talking about, correct?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And so then it's a system that I called strategic diversification, and I wrote a book called The Jack of All Trades, Master of Two. And really, basically, what I'm talking about is taking whatever your business does and concentrating it into your healthiest areas, your healthiest profit margins. So for me, being in the excavating landscaping arena, I found that I could do 2 things better than any other company out there. Now, this is going to be obscure, but I want the listeners right now to be able to apply the concept to whatever their business is. The one thing that my business focused on was pool demolition and removal, and that is a very obscure niche. Okay, Josh? And yeah. I could quickly and easily dominate this obscure niche locally, and then I could actually branch out, nationwide, because I was able to systemize pool demolition and removal. I was able to make a person calling into my office, I made them feel like they were going to Walmart to buy milk. Okay? You didn't question the price. You didn't question who was the authority in the marketplace. I created a sales system and a system for actually doing the removals that made the customers very comfortable with knowing that when they called me, they wanted me. They would wait for me over XYZ company or over any other landscaping company, excavating company, or demolition company out there.
How did you do that? Can you elaborate a little bit just on how you positioned yourself to be the authority?
Absolutely not. I absolutely not. In fact, I will not elaborate. I will actually tell you exactly how I did it. You're a customer. Call me up, Josh. We're going to role play this.
All right. Stan, I have this pool. It's horrifying. I got to get it out of here. I don't know what to do. Do you guys offer that service? Can you help me?
Yeah, Josh. In fact, I can actually give you a quote right over the phone if you're okay with that.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. One of the things that we do is we offer flat rate pricing for pool removal. I just have a few questions for you, and then I can give you the price. And then if this is something that you feel comfortable moving forward, I'll actually come out to your site site and finalize details. First question, Josh, is it a vinyl line swimming pool? Typically, most are.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And just on an average, is it small, medium, or large?
I'd say it's a medium-sized pool.
Medium-sized pool. Okay, a medium-sized vinyl line pool costs on average $7,200 to remove. But let me tell you what we do to make sure that you're comfortable with the entire process. The first thing I got to say, and just get this out of the way, Josh, is I pull a permit. And I know that sounds weird, but you'll find a lot of companies don't pull permits because they're not familiar with the process. I automatically pull a permit. And here's the thing. The city knows you have a swimming pool, and they will find out if you don't have one. Trust me. You're going to want to have a permit in hand before we start the process. So I pull that permit, and I actually physically hand that permit to you and tape it to your door. Next, what happens is I come out to your site, and I remove all the concrete around the swimming pool. I cut the liner out of the pool. I expose the backing. The backing is going to be made of 3 materials. It's going to be made out of PVC or plastic, tin or metal, or if it's a Buster Crab, it'll be made out of plywood, believe it or not. That gets hauled away and removed. I then create a concave bowl in your backyard so it's safe. Nobody can fall in and get hurt while I'm working. This whole process takes about 3.5 days. Once I've created the bowl, I call up the city and say, come on out and inspect. And you know what, Josh? This is going to sound weird, but a lot of cities don't require that inspection. Whether they do or they don't, I ask them to come out and do it and sign off. That way you know nothing is buried or left behind. Are you still with me with this process, Josh?
Yeah, this is pretty amazing, actually. Yeah, continue.
Okay, so then what we do next is we actually import structural fill soil. And I want to be clear on this. We're not digging somebody's backyard out across the street and we're just grabbing that soil and bringing it in. What we're importing is non-organic compactable material. That way, as we're placing it, we're compacting it in lifts so that as we get closer to the top, we know that you're never going to have settlement. You won't be calling me up in 3 to 5 years going, hey, you know what? I can tell where my pool used to be because it's now sunk down. Okay?
Yep.
We avoid that by compacting everything, and we use 2 methods, compression compaction, or we use plate compaction. It just depends on which method is more applicable for your subsoil conditions.
Wow. Take my money.
We're not quite done yet, Josh, because we're going to finalize the process by every proposal includes 1 load of pulverized screen black dirt. We spread that over the top. But before you want to sign up, there's a couple things I've got to tell you about. We don't include the permit fee, and we don't include seeding or sodding. Whatever the permit fee is, you'll see it because we hand it to you. And seeding or sodding, we can't do because every site is unique. When we're grading your yard, we've got to reverse the grades to make sure that the water pitches away from the house and down from any other structures. We never know how far that's going to take us. So unfortunately, I can't offer you a flat rate price with that component of the project. But everything else should fall right within your pricing guidelines.
Boom.
Boom, we just did it. So now I just showed you exactly how I systematized a niche service, okay?
I'll tell you, I have a lot of thoughts, Stan. Help my brain decompress here. There's so much gold in what you just laid out and the way that you laid it out. I hope the listener is smart enough to pick through and understand the architecture of what you just did. First of all, I love the flat rate pricing thing and that you get that over with right up front. Okay, that's a huge thing because that's going to be one of the big fears and stress and anxiety causing things that these people have because they have no context on a service like this, right? It's not like it's a normal thing that everybody knows what market rate is. There is no such thing as market rate. So you got that out there in front. Then you systematically blew my mind with a super detailed process description, which is part of your system. And the words you use, I wrote down non-organic compactable material, compression or plate, compression, right? I forget what you said. I just wrote down compression and plate. The point is that you took away all potential objections. You absolutely established yourself as an authority because you went far and beyond anything I could have possibly asked you. And you overcame all of the questions that the consumer would have had in their head before they even brought it up, which is amazing. It's amazing. And even with a simpler service, I think the people listening to this, like window cleaners, for example, or just someone who mows lawns, we can do the same thing on a simpler level, right? Maybe your service isn't as complex as this, but this is how you get massively high average tickets and profitability. I can't say enough about it. It was very impressive. Thank you, Stan.
And my ability to explain it quickly and clearly also allows me to charge a premium price for it, because I've now established myself as an authority. And remember, for what we're doing, at least for my service, Josh, customers want to feel more comfortable with the person in their backyard, knowing that they're getting the job done right, than maybe saving a little bit of money and having somebody that they're worried about. Okay?
Well, yeah, and can you imagine contrasting that against some 23-year-old guy trying to do the same thing like most companies would do? Like, it would be so stark. The difference would be so large that even if the other person was half the price, you would feel a little gross or uncomfortable or nervous hiring the other company after listening to you do what you just did.
What I just created was done by conversation after conversation, deciphering what people want in it, and then memorizing basically a format. Okay, Josh? But now I also have a few objections that come up. Some customers will object to price. And so then I have comebacks to that as well. And I use those in the forms of stories. And that helps actually really cement the entire process, so that you don't just have the initial description of the service and things like that. You've got to be prepared for when the customer has questions, and you have those stock answers ready to go.
Yeah, I agree absolutely, completely. In fact, before I got into the service industry, I had kind of a high-level sales training background on the phone. I was in the mortgage and financial industry. And a lot of the like psychological triggers that you're hitting on this is like serious high-level stuff. I mean, your numbers speak for itself. Your profitability, your success speaks for itself. I just want the listener to push pause and literally apply these ideas to their business. I know it's a little bit kind of general when we're just doing a brief interview here, but write down the objections to your service and think of ways to overcome those objections before they come up. And like Stan said, use storytelling is the best way to communicate, especially using emotion, right? If you want to communicate fear, if they want the lowest price and you say, well, sorry, that the price is the price. Okay, that's one way. But if you say, you know what, I can understand that, Mrs. Jones. A lot of our customers feel that way at first. And it reminds me, actually, about 4 years ago, one of our bids we did went with a different company, and then this horrible thing happened. It was so awful because our kids go to school together, and then I felt so bad for them, and we don't cut corners. Whatever, you use a story, it's more effective. It's awesome stuff. You know, I want to ask you, Stan, about the strategic diversification. Great phrase, by the way. With the pool demos and whatever the second thing was, did you just look at your revenue and figure out average margin per service and then pick the top two when you decided to niche down to the two primary prongs in your business?
Well, let's talk about strategic diversification and break that down. It's basically two separate services. And so what I found was I looked for the things that we could do best and the things that we consistently had the best profit margins in. I wanted one obscure thing, that's the pool demolition, and then I wanted something that was a little more difficult, so it would take longer to become the master of, and that's retaining walls. Because in pool demolition, there's not a lot of people offering pool demolition, right? Obscure, hence. But retaining walls, every concrete company, every landscape company offers retaining walls. So to become the absolute authority in retaining walls, I knew would take longer to do. And so that's where strategic diversification is. In 2007, we sat down and I said, in 2008, we're going to concentrate on pool demolition and removal and retaining walls. Those are going to be our two main services. We had a crew back in 2007 doing nothing but digging basements. And they looked at me and says, we're going to do it the excavation crew. I says, nothing. They can go demolish swimming pools. Okay, what are we going to do with the blah, blah, blah crew? I said, they can build retaining walls. Our two areas that we're going to dominate is going to be retaining walls and swimming pools, absolutely hands down. Swimming pools, we dominated within 1 to 2 years. Retaining walls, it took us a little bit longer, but then we became one of the top retaining wall installation authorities in the entire Midwest. But it took longer because it was a larger niche.
Now, this is leading to another question I have for you, which is being in such a niche like pool demolition, there had to be another arm to your strategy here to just get in front of people. Is that kind of where the YouTube thing came in, or how did you how did homeowners find you? You know, they're searching for pool demolition, pool removal, whatever. Was it easy to rank because not a lot of companies offer it? How did you do deal flow and generate leads and things like that with these two niches?
Well, it's basically SEO concepts, Josh. So when it comes right down to it, because pool demolition was so, niched, it was easy to rank quickly in that to become the leader in it. And hence, same thing with retaining walls. A larger niche took longer. So that's where the strategic diversification came in. Actually, YouTube came in an entirely different venue. Basically, I got an obscure phone call from a person about 5 years ago, 6-7 years ago, maybe it was, I don't remember. And he said, look, I'm trying to create a software program for excavating contractors as a dirt sharing program. Do you have any input into this? And I said, not only do I have input, here's how you do it verbatim from start to finish. And I said, you create a map, and on the map, then you have all the excavating companies be able to pinpoint where they have fill or where they need fill at. And it's a public map, so it's got to be held on the internet. And then every company just joins this map, and they can go, look, I need 200 yards of dirt, and XYZ company has 200 yards of dirt less than 3 blocks away. And the person that was creating the software said, this is amazing. Will you partner up with us? And I decided to team up with them to create this mapping system, and we named it dirtmonkey.net back then. And that's how the whole YouTube thing and podcasts and Instagram and all the other social media actually started. Was I needed to do guerrilla marketing because I wasn't going to do paid marketing for a software company that was experimental at the time. Okay. Mm-hmm. So one of my partners in the software program begged me to do a podcast. And he said, look, Stan, just do a podcast for contractors. And I says, absolutely not. I said, there's podcast, contractors don't listen to podcasts. I was so wrong, Josh, at this whole thing, right? I said, they don't listen to podcasts. They don't do any of this stuff. They just work. And he's like, please just do it for me. And you know what? Out of respect for my business partners, I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I started a podcast. And I liked it. I loved communicating. It inspired my true passion, which was teaching and education, right? And it gave me the ability to connect with some of the absolute experts in and out of the industry. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. He was one of my very first interviews, and you'd wonder, why the hell would I interview him? Well, it was my job to have them teach about contracting and landscaping and lawn care and building houses and demolishing restaurants. It was my job for them to give me their nuggets of information and then to apply it for contractors to say, look, this is what John Gray says. And him and I talked about hyper concentration. And I says, as entrepreneurs, we're always scatterbrained. We're always like squirrel. What? What's going on? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
That is the entrepreneurial mindset. And I pulled it out of him, what he used to help him with his business, and I gave that to the different entrepreneurs, okay, or the different people listening. One of the people I interviewed, his name was Keith Kalfas, and he was on YouTube. And Keith, I always said that if Gary Vaynerchuk ever had a love child with I don't remember who else, some landscape guru, they would have named it Keith Kalfas, right?
Yeah. Oh man,
Keith was just an awesome guy. I mean, I just connected with him ASAP. And after the interview, he's like, Stan, you got to try YouTube. And I said, Keith, I did it 5 years ago. I made over 50 landscape videos. I got 0 subscribers. I made one video on my aquarium in my house, and it's like 15 feet long and 5 feet deep and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I had 100 subscribers. I says, YouTube is not for me. I don't know why. I can't get anywhere with YouTube. And he's like, no, you got to do it. Just give it another try. And he gave me some basic remedial coaching. And what he really did that without knowing was he planted a seed. And personally, for me, I've got an obsessive compulsive personality, Josh. I won't do anything without doing it at least 110 or 120%. Okay.
All or nothing. Me too. Absolutely.
It's more than all or nothing, unfortunately. So then I started to wonder, why do some YouTube channels live in obscurity, getting 0 views, and other channels have 100,000 subscribers or 500,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers? What is the difference between the two of them? And it was this, that education was the same obsessive traits that taught me strategic diversification, about dominating 2 specific niches and taking that further. I used that same obsessive ability to decipher and decode first YouTube, and then after I got onto YouTube, I got invited to events, and I would be sitting around at events and look across the board, and I'd be sitting at all these Instagram people. And I'm like, what the hell? You're not even on YouTube. You're just on Instagram? And you do what? And you get how many downloads? And so then for 18 months after that, it took me 18 months to finally decode the algorithm to Instagram. And I mean, I interviewed people, and I would talk to people that were succeeding at it and trying to do it. And everybody's got their little tweaks. But once you finally get into the rhythm, you know how to do it. And this month, between Instagram and YouTube, will be the first month that I break 5 million downloads in a month.
Wow, 5 million in a month. That is incredible, man. YouTube is something that I haven't ever succeeded with either. We put some stuff out there or whatever, but and I've talked to Keith, and hey, hats off to Keith for inspiring you to do that, because look at all the people you've affected and the lives you're changing with 90,000+ subscribers. Honestly, that's pretty incredible. But YouTube is like a weird secret language to me still at this point. I do plan on diving deeper, but businesses, can they use it kind of just from a local business perspective too? I know that YouTube videos rank super high in search engine results and things like that. Is there any nuggets you could share regarding that?
Absolutely. So take out your pen and your paper, because I'm going to teach a business how to rank very quickly for their service in their area. Okay. And this is going to be important. We've basically got to understand Google and YouTube. Google is the world's largest search engine. Google owns YouTube. It's its grandchild, right? It's its baby. And so Google gives priority to anything on YouTube, not only for Google SEO, but for YouTube SEO. So when you create a YouTube video, you're going to automatically rank higher in Google. So I want you to, let's take, give window cleaning, give me a town.
Sure, window cleaning, Lansing, Michigan.
All right, that's the name of your video.
Oh, there you go.
So the reason that we're doing that, we're making it very to the point, is what I want you to think of is, what are the people in your area searching for? You're not trying to become a YouTube superstar. You're trying to promote your business. Now, if your business is superior window cleaning, are you going to put superior window cleaning on there? Absolutely not, Josh. I'm going to answer that question before you guys out there start to say yes. No, the answer is no, because people are not looking, unfortunately, for superior window cleaning. They're looking for window cleaning in Lansing, Michigan. Okay.
You know what's funny about that too is a lot of contractors use yard signs, right? And the big battle is these guys, they want to put like their giant logo on these yard signs, and it doesn't work. But if you just put the name of the service and a phone number, then they magically start working like 25 times more effective, because if you put, lawn care and a phone number, and someone needs that, bam, but they're not looking for your company name. I think that's a good gold nugget there.
So, and here's some stuff that most people don't know. The title has 100 spaces in it, and Google uses all 100 spaces to categorize your video. So if you have window cleaning in Lansing, Michigan, but you also do some other kind of cleaning, what goes along with window cleaning, Josh?
House washing, roof cleaning.
All of that should be in your title. So you have 100 spaces, so that video should be titled window cleaning, house cleaning, whatever kind of cleaning, whatever services you provide, and the area that you're in. And then in the description, you have 200 spaces. And Josh, that description is as relevant to Google as the title is. And that's the first 2 lines minus 2 spaces. Believe it or not, it's this much of a science, okay? So you, in the description.
Can you say that again? What do you mean by the first 2 lines minus 2 spaces? When you say spaces, do you mean total characters allowed to be typed in?
Total characters. The relevance factor is you have 100 in the title, and 200 in the description. The description, technically, you can go up to like 2,000 characters. Google doesn't care about the other 1,980 characters. It only cares about the first 200 characters in the description. And so those first 200 characters have to be keyword rich. Your service, the areas you want to be in, just everything that you want people to discover you for is within that. And that 200, so you don't have to sit and count out the 200 spaces. It's the first 2 lines underneath the video minus 2 spaces at the end.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, that's a good hack there. Thank you. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Each line is 101 characters underneath the video. So that kind of puts it to you, gives you the idea. Now, in the description, you can keep going beyond the 200, which will just help your search engine results, but it won't have the biggest impact as the first 200 spaces. But then you have something called the tags. And the tags should be window cleaning, Lansing, Michigan, window cleaning, Lansing, Michigan, house cleaning, Lansing, Michigan, anything that people are going to search for to find your business in your area of interest. Remember, you're not trying to become a YouTube superstar, so these should be very specific keywords. You're not going to get a ton of hits off from these keywords, but the hits you get are going to be so powerful, it's going to be your exact customer looking for your exact service.
Boom.
You have 500 characters in the tags. 500. Now, here's something that has been brought up to me and asked in the past. Is that just all one tag? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, don't make one super long tag in the tag that's 500 characters. It should be separate tags. Window washing, windows, Lansing, Michigan. Every time I stop talking, that means that's a separate tag. Window washing in Lansing, Michigan is one tag. And so what you're doing is you are literally training Google's computer who to send your video to.
Unbelievable. That is super valuable. Where do I send the check for this, Stan? This is good stuff.
Well, if you want the detailed course, it's actually over at Dirt Monkey University called YouTube Crash Course. But now we're not done yet, Josh. We've got to understand, we've still got to put ourselves in the mind of the consumer. Now, we've just literally trained Google's computer how and where to put your video. But if you can't get that person to click on your video, it's no good. Right, Josh? It doesn't make any difference. So I want you guys to picture yourself at Walmart right now, and you're getting ready to check out, and you're bored. The person in front of you has 500 widgets in the bottom of their cart, and they're individually checking each widget out. And you know you're going to be standing there for about 15 minutes, so you know what you do. If you're like me, you start looking around, and you don't want to spend money on candy, so you at least look at the magazines. Okay? What do the magazines have every time consistently?
Great imagery and catchy headlines.
Boom, done. Great imagery. You literally just said it. If your picture, your thumbnail on your video is you way far off and there's a little squeegee and people got to squint to see any detail, they're not going to care about what you're doing. Or worse yet, if it's blurry or it looks low quality, they're not going to care. You need to screen capture the absolute best shot out of your video. Screen capture, Control F4, whatever it is for your system. But you go through your video as you're doing the editing process and you find that one spot in the video that you're like, golly, that's cool. Boom, you capture it with a screen capture, a picture, and then you upload that as the thumbnail for your video. And if you really want to give it a title, Josh, you said it, they use great imagery and they use a great title, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
You go to a program called PicFont, PICFONT. There's another one called PicMonkey or whatever it is. I don't remember what it is. But they're free software that you can upload your picture to, and then you can put a title on top of your thumbnail. And the title that you put on the top of the thumbnail does not have to match the title in the video, the description, or the tags. Google's algorithm doesn't know what's in that picture. You're now tricking Google's computer, and you're sending right to the consumer, right? Mm-hmm. And you could say, and it should be very short and sweet. All of these magazines have these very short, sweet, catchy headlines to grab attention. So the picture is going to automatically grab their attention, and then the text and the font that you put on top of it should grab their attention even more. It should say crash or bad job or amazing quality or whatever you want to be known for. Okay? Whatever it is you want to be known for. And it should be a one word across the top. Big, bold, catchy, boom. Great picture, great word. Now you've just got people that are watching it to actually click on it. Google's computer has put it in front of them, and now you've presented an image that makes them compelled to click on top of the video to see what's inside of it.
And you know what is so powerful? And thank you for that. I've never heard it broke down like that. I didn't know half the stuff you just said. It's amazingly valuable. And isn't it especially valuable for like a newer or a younger business? Maybe they're fighting against massive decade-old SEO from a local company, but by doing what you just described consistently, they could fly right up in front of someone quickly just by using YouTube and the favoritism that Google shows to YouTube to get those phone calls, right?
Absolutely. You will dominate so quickly. You put 50 to 100 videos up, you're going to accidentally become a YouTube star like me. That's how I started. So when it boils down to it, yes.
I'm looking at your thumbnails right now, and it's exactly like you described. I mean, you have so many videos in here, but you have, these huge text with this, it almost looks like comic book font and bright colors, and it says, 17-year-old makes $250,000. You have another one that says, he is insane. One says, beat to hell, and you have these great screenshots of heavy equipment and all this different stuff. I mean, it's you can't not click it, right? But then I notice like you said, the title of the video is totally different. And if you miss one of these things, it's going to mess up the whole thing. But Stan just gave you everything, guys. Send Stan an email and say thank you. Just say thank you in the subject line and say, and that's so valuable. It's like free money that you just gave people. And it actually is a good segue into Dirt Monkey U, which I wanted to focus on. And I talked to Phil about this too. I was excited when I learned about it because I'm a fan of education and businesses getting unstuck and marriages not being ruined because their business is broken. And explain Dirt Monkey U, because I know that's how you kind of got going, was with this Dirt Monkey thing on YouTube. Now it's this whole other animal, and you do training and high-level education for hundreds and hundreds of people. Take us down Dirt Monkey U, down that road. What's in it? How does it work? Explain that to us.
Absolutely. We're going to make this short and sweet. I want people, when they find my YouTube videos, to understand that is entertainment and education, okay? And I get hundreds of emails every day saying, thank you, I learned so much from your videos. And I was like, how do you learn when I'm just trying to entertain and give you little bits of education? It's not hardcore education. So then I teamed up with Phil, and we created Dirt Monkey University, and that is hardcore education. This is the absolute stuff that businesses need to take it to the next level, guaranteed, hands down. And I can say that because I have gone to the training of other mastermind courses and other groups. I've paid for this high-level education and realized that what Phil and I are doing is exactly the same thing. We are giving it to them at an absolute fraction of the cost. That because there's a lot of these guys, Josh, they can't afford $500 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever some of these courses are training. One of them I know charges $1,500 just to get into the door, and then it's $500-$600 a month after that. Most guys can't afford that. We offer no absolute upfront fees at all, and right now it's just $29 a month. Of course, that's going to be going up at some point probably, but realistically, what we're giving them is the same training, because then what happens is they become a member for life in our advanced education system. They don't want to leave, and they want to bring people in. And that helps us grow as a community. And the more people we have in there, the more knowledge, the more education we share, because not only do Phil and I do weekly training, but we also have a community of people that work together And that community is phenomenal. I go in there and my jaw just drops. They're talking about bidding and estimating real world examples on projects and what equipment should they buy and what kind of experience have they had with different pieces of equipment and problems on jobs and how they've handled it and stuff you can't find anywhere else, stuff I can't even begin to cover in my YouTube channel because I don't have enough time. These guys are sharing with each other, and it is absolutely what I dreamed of achieving, and it's finally coming to reality.
Yeah, and you know what? The importance of community can't be understated. I said this before, but you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I think Jim Rohn originally said it. It's a popular catchphrase and quote now, but it's absolutely true. And what's cool about the internet, if you can't succeed in business today in this modern world, you would have never, ever, ever made it before because you have access to people, education, trainings, accountability, systems, frameworks, architecture, learning, and just support like never in the history of mankind. And what's cool about Dirt Monkey U is the community. You have like-minded people all getting together, supporting and helping each other with their fearless leader, Stan and Phil, which is awesome. And you guys have had, the 7-figure businesses. You've had the ups and downs. You've went through the education of hard knocks, right? And so you can share those things. I think it's really cool. I believe in it. I support all this stuff. You got to have community. You got to have clarity, and you can get the clarity by learning from people who have been there and from the community, and that gives you the ability to conquer whatever it is you're trying to do in your business. Stan, I want to respect your time and wrap this up. Do you have any closing thoughts, final words, or anything you want to share?
Absolutely. Josh, hindsight is 20/20. Isn't that right?
Absolutely it is.
When you look back, you can learn from all of the mistakes that you've made. But when you look forward, you don't know where you're going. And that's what this community that we created is all about. It's by having leaders that can help people that don't have as much experience get forward without making the mistakes, because the leader is looking backward, giving a hand up to the guy below him. That's what Dirt Monkey University's community is about. So if you guys are out there, if you're struggling, if you don't know where to turn, please go check us out at our mastermind group. It's absolutely free for the first week. Bop around inside and make sure that you check out the private Facebook group. I guarantee you, I absolutely promise and guarantee you that it will change your life. It will change everything that you do in your business. It will answer those questions. It will help you get over those hurdles that you're looking at. That's the sole intention of this group. That's all we focus and concentrate on. And we want those guys out there right now to stop struggling and to start succeeding. Please join us. Absolutely. Please join us.
And to join, just everybody go to dirtmonkey.com. That's dirtmonkeyu.com. And last question, what if they're not in the landscaping business, Stan? Is it still applicable? Is there still value there? Because we have, carpet cleaners and all kinds of pest control companies and cleaning companies and things like that. Is there still value?
We're contractors. We're not just landscapers. We're not just lawn care. We have remodeling contractors. We have cement contractors. We have builders. We have every genre in there. I have a person that owns a bakery store. He's like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened for my retail outlet. I'm like, I didn't know it could apply to you, but that's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah. No, I knew that it did. I just wanted to be clear to the audience. That's really cool. Stan, thank you for your time. Everybody go to dirtmonkeyu.com. And thanks for listening today. And Stan, thank you for giving me so much time. It's very generous.
Josh, thank you, bud.
Hey, thanks for hanging out, friends. And from all of us here at the Quick Talk Podcast team, we hope you loved today's show. We hope that you were inspired to become a doer and not just a listener. Apply what you've heard today in your own business and watch things change for the better. Lastly, remember that all the money in the world can't save your soul. Seek first the kingdom of God, my friends. We'll see you next time.
For more information about the Quick Talk Podcast or Joshua's other businesses, visit our website, quicktalkpodcast.com. Have a blessed day.